can go back and look. We are recording.
It is being recorded.
It is being recorded. Just let me know. That's wonderful. Okay. Move this one. Oh, I can't see my notes. This is not good. Notes. Here we go. So, sorry about that. I might not be on campus, but for university business, Trent commences our meetings with this statement. And I'm going to move you up. I realize many are currently not in Canada and may have other practices, but I would like to acknowledge those practices as well. However, for Trent Business, we do start our meetings with this statement. Today, we respectively acknowledge that we are on the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to the First Peoples for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations. May we honor those teachings. I also have added a few pictures that I've taken of the campus while I'm kayaking on the Otonabee. And this shot to the right is the Zowski College and the Otonabee, and it's from the rowing club where I dropped my kayak in.
Okay, beautiful. I love it. Great shot.
Okay, so the agenda today is we're going to review fees and fees deadlines, how to make a payment, viewing your student account, bursaries and scholarships, funds request, resources, and questions. And this is the email address that I mentioned earlier, graduatefinance@trentu.ca. This, to the right, this picture is the steps by Battle Library, and this is the AJM Smith Room, and this is a walkway that carries on over towards the School of Graduate Studies, and it's a beautiful path. Okay. We're jumping right into the heavy stuff. So students are encouraged to review the graduate calendar with regards to fees of the School of Grad Studies and School of Graduate Studies policies. They can be found starting on page 116 of the 2021 academic calendar. Yesterday's session just put the link to the calendar in the chat section, so I'm not sure if that was the plan for today. Is that okay, Jess? Okay, great.
Yeah, I can do the same thing. I'll just need to find it for now.
Perfect. Okay, so all students must register and pay fees at the beginning of the program of study and must maintain continuous registration and fee payments, except during approved leaves, until degree requirements have been completed and notification of approval to convocate has been received. Students who have unpaid university account for fees or other charges at the time of re-registration, the start of each term, will have some difficulties and will have to communicate with me to organize their payments. Health and dental charges are billed in full in September for students enrolled in September, and in January for students starting the graduate program in the winter term. And then the UHIP charges. Anyone who had questions about the UHIP charges, they should take a quick review of the international session. As I understand, this was covered in full detail, and it's a good reminder. It's a bit complicated during these times. Tuition for graduate studies is applied to your student account 3 times each year, and they typically are posted to your student account by the week or 2 weeks prior to the commencement of the new term. And billing is triggered by the registration in the Colder course GSFT 500 or GSFT 800. That's the master's level or the doctoral level. Registration are applied, as I am indicated, 3 times a year. And you can see that by looking at your My Trent account. I'm going to move over to the next one. Fees deadline. For professional programs, graduate student fees are due 3 times a year, it's similar to the billing. Fall term is September 1st, winter term is January 1st, spring and summer term is May 1st. And this is outlined under dates, important dates in the calendar, which is to the right now, the link to that calendar. I would urge people to bookmark that because you'll make reference to it many times throughout your academic program. Moving. There we go. So when you go to the School of Graduate Studies website, this is the page that you will see. It's the School of Graduate Studies. It's graduate student fees and tuition, and you can click on these various buttons to get information. And when we click on fees and deadlines, this is what you see. Graduate tuition fees vary between research and thesis-based programs and professional programs. For full details on the graduate fees for the 2021 academic, please refer to the appropriate fee schedule posted below. My screen just lit up on something. Was there questions come through? Is that what happened? I don't know. My screen just lit up.
I just posted the link for the tuition fees.
Oh, is that what it was?
So maybe
okay,
that's why.
Okay, good. I was like, oh no, don't crash on me. So if you click in, you can find your course, and let me just go over here. Then over here. Okay, your student account and how to pay. Your student account is maintained by the university's secure student system. It is where we charge all your fees and your payments are received. It is every student's responsibility to regularly log in and review their own statement of account, and that all balances have been paid in full by the deadline dates. External agencies, scholarships, and bursaries. Some students do have an external source that pay their tuition fees, and payment from external agencies sometimes arrive by check. In these times, typically it's by banking. Some bank-to-bank information, and if you contact finance at Trent U for the banking information, they'll get back to you. It may take 2 or 3 days as they are really swamped with questions, but if your bank or your institution does continue to use a check, make sure that in the portion of the check for the explanation that to include your student name, student number, and confirm who will be issuing the T4A tax receipt. Someone does that one. Move along. These. To review how to make payments towards your student account, you may visit the website and click on these links on how to make these payment options and how to make it work. So if you click on that link, in behind there's instructions on how to proceed with those payments, and that's really helpful. I know it can be a little bit confusing, but they have done everything they can on the finance website to provide details on how to make it work. Now, what sometimes happens is that you will make a payment and you'll expect it to go immediately onto your student account. So you'll log into your My Trent and you'll try to look for it. But in fact, what happens is that your bank has to send the information to Trent University Bank. Trent University Bank has to then send it on to our graduate finance department. Our graduate finance department, an individual will post it manually to your student account. So there is a delay. So allow some time, 3 to 5 business days before that happens. So this is also true. Many should have already made a tuition deposit, and that will be posted onto your student account, and it will get switched over it'll be applied towards your tuition charges. Billing, billing at this time is normally done, I don't know if I've said this already, but billing for your time is normally posted the first or second week prior to the start of term. And we're on track for that being done. So right now your student account would not have your tuition fees for the fall term, but you would have been able to go to that screen that we looked at earlier to see how much you would be expected to pay for this term. And but it will be happening within the next 2 weeks or so. So this is important to see. And if you haven't already done this, you should take an opportunity, take some time, book some time to go to your My Trent and look around your My Trent portal and go into the finances section. And this is how you would find your account statement. It will show when the tuition fees have been invoiced and when your payment has been posted to your student account. The My Trent portal is a communication tool and is where students are directed for making a payment towards a student account and for also applying for bursaries. If you were to go into the financial aid section, that's where you will find the bursary posting. Your student account statement, this is where you would click in and drill down to see what your student account looks like. When you have a social insurance number, this is where you will post that. Make a payment, click down into that. We'll talk about requests for funds, credit on account later on in the session, and your bank account information. At any time, once you have a Canadian bank, you should input this data clicking through this link, and it's pretty self-explanatory. If it's not, there is a resource on the finance site that explains that. Also, Lori has you have a session or like notes that you send out to students if they have difficulty uploading their bank information. Yeah. So we can help you walk through that, but it's important that you do update that information when you do have a Canadian bank. Graduate bursaries. Okay. So the graduate bursaries, the bursary program for graduate students at Trent University is administered by the School of Graduate Studies. That would be me. Bursaries are meant to supplement, not replace, provincial government aid programs and a student's own resources. Bursaries are awarded each term to students with demonstrated financial need. The application is available at the beginning of each term. So it's typically posted the first or second week of the first month of each term, so September, January, and May. And to be considered for a bursary, students are required to submit a completed application online by the advertised deadline. The application can be found on the My Trent under the Finances tab within the Financial Aid section. That was the one that we looked at before, just in case you missed it. Right in here, that's where you would find your bursary application. And the language of it, it is the application for international graduate students. The language sometimes can be misleading, but it is open to international graduate students. Please reference the Graduate Studies academic calendar for additional award listings. So those are the deadlines: fall deadline September 30th, winter deadline January 31st, and spring deadline May 28th. It typically takes about 6 to 7 weeks before the bursaries process is completed. And in the if you're awarded a bursary, it's posted to your student account. And you are notified if you've received a bursary. And students are encouraged to apply. Okay. There are donor-specific funds available, and these funds are awarded in the winter term. So if you want to look at the calendar, you can look under the financial aid section and look at the funds that are specific to international students. Okay, we'll move into graduate scholarships. Graduate scholarships. Oops, sorry. Graduate scholarships. Scholarships available to students in course-based professional streams include the Bata Memorial Graduate Scholarship. It has a value of $5,000. The Zobel, Dr. Alicia and Dr. Gazia Conference Fund is also available. I would encourage students to visit the School of Graduate Studies scholarships page to view additional award opportunities offered through third-party organizations. And this is the link below here. I think this is another one that Jess is going to post to the right. Okay, thanks. Let's keep going. Now, professional programs have limited opportunities to apply for scholarships, and they are exceptionally competitive. Okay, so this is an example. I'm going to just move into this one. This is an example of a scholarship opportunity. It's under when you go onto this page, the scholarships page, there's a chart, but then you have to slide on down through the page because the federal one is listed, then the provincial, and then the internal scholarships and award listings. They're in alphabetical order, so keep scrolling through. And this one is the Bata Memorial Graduate Scholarship. Again, it's valued at $5,000. So if you were to click on the School of Graduate Studies internal application, unfortunately, I haven't updated it for the 2020. We're just reevaluating on the criteria, but this is a good look at it now. The deadline is October 2nd, 2020, and it shows you the criteria for the application, the deadline, and how to submit. Please email application to graduatefinance@trentu. I would recommend that you watch for notices regarding scholarship training sessions. And this application will be updated probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks. Another one to look for, whoops, MyTex. MyTex, depending on your program and your particular and the particular funding program of MyTax, it is worth reviewing. They have different deadlines, different requirements, and these programs tend to be a direct application that does not go through the School of Graduate Studies. What that means is that you would work with the MyTax application, and you would work with your supervisor to see if you're eligible for this program, and you have to review it closely to see if the terms of the scholarship meet your academics, your supervisor's academics. There's a lot of details you have to look, and the onus is on the student to apply for these third-party applications and to find them. I do try to post them, and you do find them on this page that we've directed you to. However, for MyTex, if you are successful in this program, the School of Graduate Studies is the one that helps pay out the scholarships. I would recommend that you spend some time looking at that one. You may be eligible. So the next one, I move right into requesting funds and credit on account. So that was the icon that I pointed out in the My Trent portal page that we were looking at. If you received a bursary and your account is in good standing, you may have a credit on your account, which means that the university has funds to award to you personally. And so how you do that is a funds request can be submitted through the My Trent portal under the Finance tab, which we showed you. And generally, funds requests are processed within 7 to 10 business days. It depends on the timing of when you submit your request and when we're able to process it. Your current Canadian banking information must be on file, which is also submitted via the My Trent portal. I pointed that icon out as well. So what happens is that the funds will come off your account. We will receive the list, process the list, the funds, then we move it over to the finance department. Someone will take the funds off your account. So it looks like a charge is going on your account. And there's many questions about that as to why do you have this charge. But we need to take those funds off your account in order to move them to your personal Canadian bank account. So, and it will create a zero balance when that process is completed. But it does, as I mentioned earlier, it does take a certain amount of time to do that. We receive the request, we send it on to the finance department. The finance department has one of their team members take the funds off your student account. Then they make the request to move it into your bank account. So that process alone can take 4 days. So typically if we receive it by the Friday, the following Friday it should land in your bank account. If it does not land in, please get in touch with the Graduate Finance Office and School of Graduate Studies, Student Grad Studies, and we will look into it for you. Okay. So we're moving right along here. The next one is resources during your program. And many of you have already have interacted with this group of people when you've been making your application to Trent University. So please reach out if you have any questions at all or want to talk to someone about the details of your graduate program. This is a very quick list of the kind of folks hoping to ease your transition into graduate school and Trent University. We're delighted that you've chosen Trent, and the campus is certainly beautiful, and your program will be an excellent match for you. So what to your peers in your program, that's important to build that connection with your peers in your group if you're able to reach out to them and connect. Your graduate program minister, I know many of you have already connected with your graduate program minister, your program coordinator, supervisor or co-supervisor if applicable, your graduate program director, Trent Graduate Student Association. They also have a website, they organize activities, and that's another website that I would recommend students review. And they also have some funds that they allocate. That's with them, so you should investigate that and what funds they have available. Our office, School of Graduate Studies, many of you have already been just talking with Jessie or Lori, Sharon, Aaron. Some have sent messages to me, but I tend to be, once you're here, I get a lot more communications from registered students and the Dean of Graduate Studies. Another resource, and many of you have already taken advantage of this, is the Trent International Program. The International Orientation Session, again, I would recommend students take a look at that again if you haven't already, and the Peterborough Campus Virtual Tour, so you get a sense of the beauty of our campus, and it shows departments as well, and Durham GTA Campus Virtual Tour. Okay, I'm gonna move this along. In the graduate calendar under Academic and Student Support Services, page 136 to 154. And for financial matters, if you do have questions, please reach out to myself at graduatefinance@trentu.ca. And upcoming sessions. These will be posted, so you're welcome to take a look at one, and I would encourage everyone, if they can, to participate in the August 26th event. This is the website and that many of you have already found and are looking at, but that would be a good one to take a continual reference to, and some specific program orientation information will come from your graduate program office. Questions? Please direct any additional financial questions to School of Graduate Studies, graduatefinance@trentu.ca, or graduate@trentu.ca. And one of us from our office or myself will be answering your questions. So I think that, whoopsie daisy, I didn't switch this pager. There we go. So you can answer School of Graduate Studies and graduatefinance@trentu.ca. So if I stop sharing, it should be able to answer any questions if there are any. Chat. Oh, doesn't look like there's any questions. So this would be a time, if you do have questions, to ask, and I'd be happy to help, or you can send an email along and we'll be able to answer your questions that way as well.
You've done too good of a job presenting, Jane. There's just
no I don't know, but
coming in.
It's a lot of information. Maybe they're overwhelmed.
Maybe, yeah.
That happens.
But yeah, like Jane said, this will be posted within a day or two on the same spot where you went to register for the event. So you can always refer back. Oh, we do have one question.
Oh, good.
I wish to ask what happens to a student whose study permit will be issued after the deadline of first payment. So you don't have your study permit yet because your first payment will be due September 1st. If you don't, you do need, do you have your study permit yet and you're just hoping to get it, Jacqueline? No, you don't have it yet? Okay. And what program are you in? You're in one of the professional programs, I know. So are you in, and how long ago has it been since you applied? I'm just asking these questions because I'm just wondering whether your program is offering your your courses online or not.
Right.
Because if you're not physically going to be able to be here. Okay, so you've just applied a week ago and you're in MICA. And I assume you've been speaking with your program then about how you're going to be, are you doing your courses online? We're getting off topic of finance here a little bit, but
Okay.
you have in-person classes. Okay, maybe we'll just chat offline a little bit. I think we should just chat. I don't know if you've been in touch with Immigration in Canada and what the expected timelines are, because from my knowledge, I think that it might be a little bit of a wait. So why don't we connect by email or by Zoom after the call, and we'll discuss a little bit further, if that's okay.
And the international orientation session was really informative too. So if you haven't watched that, I would take another look at that.
Mm-hmm. And Paul, like in our discussion, I might be referring you to Paul Longhurst, is the international student advisor for Trent, and he was the one who kind of did the presentation last Tuesday for international students. So yeah, we can talk after the call and I'll see how much I can help you, but I might be referring you.
Lori, the international program, they seem to have something happening every day at 3:00. Is that open to graduate students as well to participate in that?
I don't know what that is.
It's an open call. Anyways,
Okay.
I'm not sure, but it's on the international website. I posted it earlier on my session, the link to the international programs, and it's a connect with us. So if you Google on our Trent website, that would be something you might want to look at.
That's a good idea.
But otherwise, I think we've answered your questions, or you'll go back and look at them the answers later too. That happen.
Yeah, so if there's no other questions, like Jane said, don't forget to register for our upcoming sessions, especially the 26th morning, where we'll have tons of guest panelists to tell you all about all services and departments that you'll want to connect with at Trent. I think we have about 15 guest panelists on that, so we'll be jumping around from topic to topic, and there'll be lots to learn, so that'll be good. So register in advance, and you want to refer back to this one, it will be posted soon. Yeah, if there's nothing further, I guess.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone.
Okay.
And we'll log off.
Okay, and I'll connect with you, Jacqueline, soon. Okay, take care.